But Peter, how do we get to Neverland? I mean,
Well, let me tell you, we jump. We Kim Kardashian era.
oh, so much better.
It looks so good.
You're a lifesaver.
It goes with the blush and dry shadow.
Thank you. I look alive now. I kept looking at
Alive.
and I was like, what sick Victorian child?
Look at us.
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 Look at this. Look at us.
Look at us.
Oh, okay.
Are we recording?
Yeah, I'm recording. Okay. I like to do a soft launch. Just a surprise.
You knew. You were like, she's gonna be nervous.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Welcome to the inaugural episode of the Busy Reading Romantasy podcast. If I was a more prepared human being, which normally I am, not for this, we're breaking the rules, I would have actually prepared like a proper intro, which I still haven't. I'll do that someday.
I can do it like a da 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 da. It's Busy Reading Romantasy.
Ooh, you can do like a little jingle for me?
Sure. I could make a jingle.
So she says that, and then she'll send me like a fully produced. Like, she's in the studio doing all that.
Like, I actually have bells in the background, and I like the Winston episode where he plays the bells. I'll hire it from New Girl.
I wish I saw that.
Okay, never mind. All right. Well, anyways, but he plays the bells like professionally, and he'll be like,
yeah, there we go.
So I'll have a full on thing for you.
We'll do that. We'll do that next time. So this is Kayla. She's my great grandfriend. We met.
I thought you were gonna say great great grandfather.
The fact that you didn't go to grandmother.
Like,
Great grandfather.
Okay.
We met in a lovely thing called Diva Dance, which is a dance for adults. And ironically, now we both work for it.
They were like, we can't get rid of you. So we'll hire you, I guess.
I'm gonna say we became best friends the day that I showed up like an hour or two into this like lovely brunch, which is also not me at all, but I was really like, it was a long drive. I was like, I'll get there when I get there. It was raining. I didn't want to St. Pete. I was like, ugh, show up. And everyone's getting ready to leave. And she's like, I'll have another margarita. I said, excuse me, you want another margarita? I will also get one.
I was done for.
I said, we will get home. Don't worry.
We were at brunch for 5 hours.
And I made like 2 of them.
And then I was like, you look like a normal person that won't kill me. Can you take me home?
And the rest is history.
You were like, yeah, sure, get in my car. Let's go.
Yeah. And then you were like crying 20 minutes later as we like heart to hearted.
We full on. I was like, I think we're soulmates.
It's basically, and that's like how the most beautiful friendships are made. So
yeah,
when I was like, all right, I'm starting this podcast, I was like, hey, Kayla, can you come and take some pictures of me? And she was like, absolutely. Let me look on Pinterest. What are you looking for?
So that
we got into it, literally had a blast. It was like 2 hours of just taking pictures. And then she's like, actually, I also do Photoshop. Sent me the most beautiful. I literally was showing everyone. I was like a proud parent. I was like, I should put it on my fridge because it is amazing. So the thumbnail, that was her. She did that. She made that match.
It was lucky beginner's luck.
And it was so much fun. I literally talk about this in my first episode where I just like ramble about what I'm doing for this podcast, is that like I want to create magic. That's the fun of it.
Yeah.
Like I am such a type A, have everything planned, and this is really a project where I'm like, I kind of just want to show up and see what happens.
Like, okay, so full disclosure, I was like on the plane to Iceland reading this book, and I was like, oh my God, I have to call Kelly. But I was like, I couldn't call her because I'm international and I don't want like to pay for the
fair.
Pay for the. And I was like, oh my God. So I have like several, like my notes are not in any way or at all like productive.
Fair.
It's just me going like several emojis and then like a bunch of gibberish.
Oh, that's so exciting. Those are the best notes. So
we'll be deciphering them together.
Yeah, absolutely. You should know by now, by the title of this, that we are actually going to be talking about Hooked by Emily McIntire. And this is a whole series, so I'm just gonna be bold and say we're gonna have to finish out the series.
I think we should. Is the series more characters of them?
No, I think it switches. Scarred.
Oh yeah.
And Wretched. I think I've been wanting to do a Peter Pan book for a while. There's a couple of them, and I had this one. Um, so let's jump into it.
Let's
There's
do
no
it.
format for this,
Okay,
so
great.
first of all,
Should we start with
actually,
the very first, like, the credit thingy? What do you
yes,
call I don't know what you call this.
is this a dedication?
The dedication,
Yeah,
yeah. For anyone who has been the villain in someone else's story.
I got well acquainted with this in
I
my
was
mid 20s.
I was like, "Oh,
Oh,
we're starting off strong. Okay."
I know that feeling.
I was like, "Oh, I feel slightly attacked."
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Absolutely. So how much are you a big Peter Pan fan? Just like any of the movies? What are you?
I would say, like, mildly interested. Like,
Okay.
Peter Pan, I, like, saw it as a kid, like, I I don't know, I always just thought it was weird, like, Tinkerbell kind of annoyed me, and then, like, I just didn't really get into, like, I don't know, it was just like, I don't know.
I'm judging you a little hard right now.
I don't know, I just, like, didn't it was fine, I
I
guess.
wanted to run away to Neverland so bad. I did not want to be in my life. I was like, let me be a kid forever. Let me be a lost boy.
Yeah, no, I don't know. Okay, so I will say though, I did read another Peter Pan retelling, very,
Mhm.
very loose retelling, the Never King series.
Oh, okay.
Have you
Yes.
yeah, so there's 4 books and they are absolute trash in the best way.
Okay.
So
Like Kayla. I don't know how the community will feel about that.
I mean, they're
That's
like
okay.
it's like 200 pages. It's a quick read. You could like
Gotcha.
sit through it in an afternoon and knock out 2 or 3 of them. And but there is literally just pure just awful smut in the way that's just
Amazing.
it's just like that's all you're there for. And it's
Yeah.
like very light Peter Pan references. And I was
Gotcha.
like,
Okay.
I could do that. Okay, that's fine.
Okay. Fine. I
I
get
was
it.
a Disney kid.
Yeah.
I liked, like,
Peter
Mulan
Pan
and
is Disney.
oh, it is? I thought it was Pixar. Okay, well, I didn't know that.
You psycho. All
I
good.
know now.
No, loved that. Hook is one of my favorite movies that I can probably quote too much of it. So that's
It's a
always
movie?
fun. Hook. Yeah, Robin Williams.
Oh, yeah!
And Rufio.
Oh my god, I've
Yeah.
never seen it. I am the most
Oh,
unqualified person to be talking about
fair.
this
No,
book.
I'm always the one that hasn't seen things, so all good. So,
I
okay.
yeah.
So to your point, you said the other one is like loosely related. How did
Mhm.
you feel? Because I have to say, jumping into this, in the beginning, I could not take all the like um
Neverland Air.
I couldn't take all the overlap of like
The weird, like
freaking Tina Bell. I was over it. I
there
was
were
pixie dust. Let's go to the Jolly Roger.
the Croc boots and, like, the TikTok of his watch and stuff. It was
Yeah.
very I was like,
It's
"Okay."
a lot right off the bat, and I was like, "I can't take this I cannot take this
Yeah.
seriously." I did think it was interesting that, Wendy's dad was Peter in this. It works out perfectly, but when I read I was like, "Oh, oh, okay there."
Unpopular opinion, I hated Peter Pan.
In the book?
Her
Oh, yeah,
dad
absolutely, you're supposed
okay,
to.
okay, good. I was just making sure we were on the same
Yeah, yeah,
page
yeah.
there because I
No,
was like,
yeah,
I mean, like, yeah, her dad was trash,
yeah.
and I hated him.
I one of my notes was Neverland.
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 I literally had to
I'm
sound it
dead.
out, Neverland, because I was like, "What am I saying? What is this?"
Neverland. I'm dead. Again, it was a bit too much when you don't know what to expect. You're like, "Oh, okay."
The other one was yeah, my chest squeezes tight at the sound of his pocket watch, the tick, tick, tick bleeding into the still of the night as he closes my bedroom door behind me. Um, okay, that was the one where I was like, I actually think that this is kind of clever
Mhm.
because that's like his trigger. And when I was first reading it, I was like, is he turning into a mutant? I thought maybe he was gonna, like, transform into, like a crocodile or something
Mhm,
because of the way it was, like, the flash of anger, and suddenly I wasn't myself, and all of a sudden I was, like, a different person, and blah, blah, and like, he was so overcome by his PTSD that he was literally, like, beside himself,
mhm.
but I straight up thought he was, like, transforming into another person, so, but I liked the, like, what's the word? Like, the synchrony of using the tick, tick, tick as, like, his, like, kryptonite
Yeah,
type of thing.
a clever way. I do like how she makes a book that is completely fantasy, because this book is not fantasy, by the way. It's very much set in, like, a real setting. There's no elements of magic, which,
Yeah.
ironic. This is our first book, and I'm like,
Kinda
"Romantasy?
misleading.
Not romantasy." I'm allowed to do what I want, I will say. So yeah, I do like that. And the longer the book went on, the more I fell in love with everything. I will just right off the bat, I was like, "Well, what am I stepping into?" And then we meet Hook. What were your first thoughts of him?
Okay, here's my initial thought. If you read this book and you didn't think that he was Sebastian Stan, you read the book wrong.
Who?
I have to leave. I'm leaving. Bucky Barnes,
I mean, what?
the Winter Soldier?
You just keep saying words, and I'm waiting for it to click, and it's not.
It'll come to you when you see his face and you're like, "Oh, hold on. Hold on."
No, I've never seen that. Is
You've
that
never seen any of
Oh, is that okay, I don't watch Marvel. I don't I don't watch Marvel
Bucky?
movies. That makes more sense. Had I known it was Marvel, I would have been like, "So, I don't
Yeah.
do this?"
Oh.
I've
Anyways,
never.
that was he was hooked for me.
Okay, okay,
And that's how I read this book as him because I feel like he just
fair.
had that, like, specifically from because he was also in Once Upon a Time.
Mhm,
Did you see that?
mhm. Thank you for bringing that up.
He played, oh my god, the Mad Hatter. And he
Oh,
had the full-on grunge, like,
mm,
90s boy band eyeliner
mhm.
going and, like, the scruffy beard. I was like, "That is Hook."
Fair,
So
fair.
that's
Okay, I
Hook.
was gonna bring Once Up Upon a Time. I was gonna bring that up because there's Hook on there as well, which, like, love it.
Oh,
Like, yeah.
yeah, and he isn't he, like, her love interest too in that?
Mhm,
Okay, yeah.
mhm, but the timeline got all weird, I fell off any series, really. The first thing that I grabbed from this is page 15. You see, subduing a woman is all about control. A delicate weaving of power, a give and take, if you will, supplying them with the absolute pleasure of your dominance. And I was like, "Oh, yeah, okay."
That was actually kinda cringe for me, I'm not gonna lie.
Really?
It was a little cringe. Most of his dialogue was very, is it poetic? Is he just, like, from the 1950s? I don't know. Like, it was very there were parts of it that were, like, very clever and, like, I liked a lot. I cannot stop looking at myself in that thing, so I feel like we need to close it.
I can't close it, it'll turn my laptop
Oh,
off. Just
okay.
don't look.
I
Leave it
can't
alone.
okay. Um, yeah, like, some of his dialogue was super weird, but, like, I also had to remind myself that he is from England,
Mm,
I think.
true.
So, like and a lot of like, there were a couple comments in the book where people were like, "Oh, like, you're faking the accent," or "Where are you from?" Because it
Mhm,
wasn't quite English, but it wasn't quite, like, from the States. And a lot of his, like, mob guys were from Boston, so that they had, like, that super thick, like, Boston accent.
mhm.
So I feel like some of the things he was saying, like, it felt forced,
Mm,
but I was like, it's just because like, he's not from there, I guess? I don't know. So I
fair,
was trying to
fair.
like, it took a minute to kinda, like, get used to that.
Well, I think that's, like, a thing in general too, is where anytime you have any sort of, like, dirty talk, like, anything assertive,
Yeah.
it anyone can take it. It's like subjective, so you can take it any which way. Someone like me, I'm like, oh yeah.
And I'm
But
like,
other
don't
people,
talk to me like that.
oh yeah, other people could hear that and be like, no, you're done.
You're done. That's me. It's
So
true.
like it's yeah, no, I totally get that. And that's where you need a certain amount of confidence. Like obviously my brain gives him the confidence to pull that off
Mm.
versus like some Joe on the road being like, you gotta make a woman submit. I'd be like,
Check
no.
yourself before you wreck
Yeah.
yourself, cowboy.
So I get that.
Yeah.
It can rub you the wrong way.
Rub you. Or the right way.
Yeah. So they initially run into each other at the Jolly Roger, the bar
The
club.
Jolly Rancher. I had to keep like stop calling it the Jolly Rancher because my brain was like, "Oh, that's like candy."
What flavor?
What flavor? Is blue raspberry?
Best flavor. I knew I liked you.
Pass the test.
Our friendship is saved now
Thank God.
after the rocky start.
We were all the Peter Pan. Really, I lost points in my aura. Lost points in my aura. Have you ever
Oh.
heard of that?
Oh, yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Okay. Like demure.
Mm.
Very demure.
Yeah. Yes, you are.
Mm-hmm.
Very cutesy.
Very mindful.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
You see
annoying.
how I ignore the laptop? Very mindful. Very demure.
Oh my god. Oh
You see
my
how I
god.
look at the camera? Very cutesy.
Very mindful.
I
I'm just
cannot.
gonna fuck myself. Can we pause this?
Demure as ever, Kayla.
That's I don't yeah. Never been called that in my life because
Oh.
I'm not. Oh my god.
Oh.
Okay, so what's your next question?
Not necessarily a question, but like a point that I was like, hold up, it does remind me, yes, we are in fact reading a dark romance, is
Mm.
when he starts fantasizing about fucking her on top of her dead dad. And I was like, whoa,
Oh
hang on, buddy boy.
my god.
So I made the mistake of telling this to my friend, the one we've been talking about,
Mhm.
and I was like, "Hey, I'm reading this new book and this just happened." And he was like, that's concerning." And I was
Is
like,
it? Or is it hot as hell?
"You don't read these books." I get it.
Because he murdered her dad.
Were you into it? Because I was not into it. That was not my thing. I was like, mm-mm, mm-mm.
I don't know.
It's a power move for sure.
I don't know. I think I glazed over some of those parts.
Fair,
I'm
fair.
not gonna like okay, so like I read dark romance as like a palate cleanser to my normal like rom-commy cutesy books
Mhm.
because I'm like 12. So when I do read dark romance, I'm like, I don't know how to do that. No, I don't know what that is. So I just like pretend I'm
Skip
reading.
ahead, skip ahead.
I like read it, but I disassociate and I don't process it
Fair,
like I do most things in life. So so I like those parts where I was like, oh, that seems interesting. Okay, good for them. And then I would just like keep going. So
fair. Okay, okay. Fine, fine.
again, I'm not qualified to be on this podcast.
Fair. It's all good. It's just opinions. Anyways.
Oh, you can be like the pro dark romance, and I'll be like the supportive dark
Yeah. Yeah,
romance,
yeah,
but like
yeah.
from
Yeah.
afar.
I will say I do think he redeems himself though after such malicious thoughts. When he tells Wendy that he's going to wine and dine her, and if she's a good girl, he'll show her why his mouth should be illegal. And I was like, yes. Yes, please.
Yes, please. Thank you
As a
very
good
much.
girl. Yes.
I'm nice. I did good. Thank you.
Yes. Absolutely.
Oh my god. I think I was like through most of this book, I was more driven by rage. I was like ready to help Hook set the world on fire. I was so driven by rage
Mm.
because, first of all, his uncle, the literal biggest piece of crap in the entire world, I was like, that's disgusting.
Yeah.
Trigger warnings, I won't say exactly why he's a piece of crap, but he is not a nice man, and he did very not nice things
Mhm.
to innocent young children.
Mhm.
So I was like, "Light him up, let's go."
Oh.
And then I knew from the beginning that Wendy's dad was gonna be, like, the villain,
Mhm.
and I was like, "Hate this man, hate him." He's
Mhm.
not even like, even if he wasn't, like, the quote, unquote, "bad guy," just, like, the way he treated his, like, kids and his family, I was just like, "This guy is dirt. He's awful." He's the entire time, I was just like, I'm ready for the big scene
Mhm.
where they light shit up.
Yeah, yeah, which we will be getting to that
I don't wanna,
as
like
things heat up,
yeah, I
absolutely.
won't spoil
Yeah.
yet.
Mhm. They, like, start to date, they go on a date, whatever, he brings her to his yacht, the Tiger Lily, where I'm like, "Of course, we meet good sweetie." More thoughts on that later, we'll circle
Smee
around.
okay, okay. Quick, like, when you read, do you picture faces?
Yes, but I completely ignore the description books give me,
Yeah,
and I just fill.
yeah, no, same.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you read Smee, who did you picture?
So I don't picture anybody specific. I think I give it my own, like, features. So I think
Okay,
so whereas, like, Hook is definitely more sharp, that kinda, like, bad boy, dark hair, situation.
okay.
Smee, I gave him more of that, like, maybe a golden retriever, good boy
Very demure, very
energy.
mindful,
Yeah,
very
just
cutesy.
a little softer, still dark hair, but, like, softer, more rounder. His face, not you know,
He was
yeah.
Where's Waldo for me.
Yes,
He
yes,
was Waldo.
there you go.
Like, I was like, red beanie, glasses,
Yeah,
striped shirt,
yeah.
he's Waldo.
Waldo, absolutely, absolutely.
That's the same person.
There you go.
So
I love that, I love that. Um, naturally, he fingers her, chokes her, she finishes, they fall asleep. I did like the point that even though she was very inexperienced,
Mhm.
she still was like, "I still have fantasies, like, I've still thought about this, I maybe haven't
I'm
done
not a
it."
child.
Which I think is always, like, a refreshing take, because sometimes it can be like, "I haven't done this, oh no, I don't know," like,
Mhm.
whatever, and it's like, "I haven't done this, but, like, I can do it," type thing. That was another little quote that I grabbed when he tells her to strip. And it goes, "A shiver shoots through me, and I sink into the comfort his direction provides, anxiety melting away because I know he'll tell me what he needs." Again, relatable. I can find that comforting. Tell me, I don't want to overthink. Just like, yep, that's it.
It's great.
Full thought.
I I'm sorry, I was trying to find my notes. I don't know how this works.
Yeah, you're all good.
Um, okay, wait, what page are you on?
Um, I'm getting to 137.
Oh, I'm, like, so behind you. Okay, hold
Sorry, I'm
on.
just charging ahead. Feel free to fill in.
Um,
Also, Tina Bell, hated it. Hated that name the whole
I
time.
Tina Bell was awful. Okay. Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay. So page 76. My heart skipped, such a simple gesture, but one that makes me feel special. He was literally just like being like, okay, again, bare minimum. He was just being a nice guy and was like helping her like get in the car and stuff. But I literally wrote like gibberish.
Yeah.
Crying face, dead face, dead face, dead face. All caps. Wendy, you deserve this with like 7 S's. I
Mhm.
was very excited for Wendy because I was like, Wendy has been through some shit.
Mhm.
She is I actually like related so hard to Wendy because she like was raising her brother
Mhm.
and her dad was never around. He was just like, here, this is not my problem anymore. We find out later why that's the case. But she like Wendy literally uprooted her life to she left Florida. They moved to Boston. And the only reason she went was because she was like, "I have to, like, go with my brother because my dad's not there."
Yeah.
And then she, like, gets a job at a coffee shop, and she's like, "Okay, I'm just gonna, like, be
Mhm.
a regular person and, like, work a job and
Mhm.
raise my brother," and, like, having witnessing her kind of, like she's 19, 20 something years old, and she's, like, an adult, like, a grown, like, parent by now that I'm like,
Mhm.
"You deserve someone to, like, take care of you." I
Yeah,
love that for you. Like,
absolutely.
I'm so happy that you finally get that.
Yeah, yeah.
So
And I think, like, this is something we've bonded over talking because we are both the eldest child situation. And, like, also, yeah, relating to Wendy of just, like, not feeling good enough and, like, trying I feel like a lot of times she was trying her hardest to just be,
Yeah.
like, seen and she just, even some of the stuff with, like, her friends, but it was, like, the friends of the friend. I was like, "She's a bitch."
Mariah, Mora, whatever
I
her name
hated
was.
it.
I
I
was like,
hated it.
I am all about, like, community girl power, like, let's band together, like, let's
Yeah.
be friends, I love that, but when you get, like, a character, she served no purpose in the plot other than just to be, like, antagonistic
Yeah.
towards Wendy,
Yeah.
and it was so like, the 5 minutes she was in, I was just like, "Shut up.
Mhm.
Just go away. Nobody
Mhm.
cares. Like, you're being so annoying."
Mhm. Which, like, so to continue on that train of just, like, Hook being this bad guy, yet still treating her right, I love the way he shuts down Moira right in front of her, because like, Moira was coming in and
That
being
was
like,
so
and he was
satisfying.
like, "Absolutely not, what we're not gonna do."
I love that. I was like, "This is so petty of me,
Yeah.
but I love
Oh,
this."
absolutely.
Yeah, it's
Absolutely.
great.
Is yeah.
So yeah, there's the part where Moira comes in and she's like, let me touch you. I wanna make you feel better, whatever, whatever." And he's like, "No." But like but then 5 seconds later, like, this is the same part that we're at.
Yeah, yeah.
5 seconds later, he's like, "But I want you.
You,
You
come
get over
here.
here." And she's like, "Me? Okay."
Exactly, that's exactly
And I was
what
like,
it
"Get it,
Okay,
girl."
okay. I love when she turned the tables on him and she wanted, like, because he had been focusing solely on her, which again, men, take note of these fiction men because he had not done anything for his own pleasure. He was just, like, helping her out, and she you know what she did? You know what she did? She was like, "Let me do something for you. Let me do something for you." Our sweet little Wendy, who knows absolutely
Oh,
nothing,
Wendy.
and she's like he takes his pants off, and she giggles, right?
Yeah.
And he goes, "I can assure
I
you
actually laughed out loud at that part. I was like, "That's relatable."
I can assure you, laughter is not something a man wants to hear when you're face down in his lap." Good point. As a serial giggler, there's been a few times where I'm like, "No, no, no, hang on, just let me get my."
I promise.
Giggles are like my filler word. Some people say, I hit you with a little
It's not nervous laughter, but it is.
yeah, it just
I don't know.
bubbles out naturally. And she goes, "No, I'm sorry. I've never will you show me how you like it?" So simple, so demure.
Yeah.
We love good questions. He goes, "I like that you've never done this before. There's nothing you can do to me that I won't enjoy, understand." That's where I take it and I go, "Shut down." Like, please, like, nothing
You know, it's like slapstick comedy, but literally.
I can't be given free rein. You can't be like, "Nothing you do will be wrong," and I'll be like,
Watch. I will prove you wrong right now. You Are you
"Just
sure about that? Because I don't think you are. Let's see.
like,
I
try
love a
me,
good challenge.
try me." And he goes, "Good girl. Now put your mouth on it."
Can you
Aye, aye,
can
captain.
you audioate what is the word? Audio read? Audiobook? Narrate. Narrate. Can you narrate the Hook? This book. Hook's book. Can you narrate Hooked, but using that accent voice that you just did, where you were like, "Aye, aye, Captain,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
can't
yeah.
hear
Oh,
you."
yeah. Yeah, yeah. Let's see. My tongue swirls around the flesh. That would be amazing.
That is a book that I would listen to.
That would
I don't do
be
audiobooks, but that's one I would.
yeah.
Mhm.
Maybe that's our next thing, just our reaction of listening to audiobooks. I've heard a few I also don't listen to audiobooks because 'cause I'll get sidetracked, but
I
some of
disassociate.
these books, what are you listening to?
John is supposed to go to boarding school,
Mhm, mhm.
and Peter, the deadbeat dad that he is, doesn't wanna tell John and own up to being a dad and, like, being like, "Hey, listen, I can't you're not getting homeschooled anymore, I'm taking you to boarding school,"
Mhm.
which is a like, a known boarding school for abusing kids, which apparently Hook went to or almost went to.
I don't know, I don't remember that.
Okay,
Maybe.
maybe I read that part wrong. Um, I think he was no, he was almost going to go there. His uncle was gonna
Okay,
send him.
fair.
I think. Maybe I also read a different book than you did. I don't know.
We glazed over certain
We might have read the same book. But I have a part in here because like Wendy was like, "You need to tell him. I'm not gonna tell him. It's not my job." And her dad was like, "I'll tell him. I'll tell him. Tell him. Blah blah blah." And then she was like, "Okay, thank you. I'm happy." Blah blah blah. And then the next morning, I highlighted this, but in the morning he's gone, and John still doesn't know because again, like Wendy's literally had to be John's parent
Mhm.
his entire life, like ever since her mom died, and it's, like, awful. So just, like, having Hook kinda come in and, like, yeah, he's a little twisted in the head, but, like, who isn't?
Right.
But he, like I knew from the get-go, like, he was like, "I'm gonna use her because I just wanna get to her dad and blah, blah, blah," but I was
Yeah,
like, "No, you're not.
actually.
You're gonna fall the
Yeah.
second you guys meet." And he did in a second.
I think there's something so empowering. There's something that I really love about dark romance or just like fantasy in general is that
Mhm.
when you have the villain, right? Especially if he's like the dark, morally gray,
Mm.
black love interest, right? Male main character. There's something so freeing about owning your dark side. I love
Yeah.
shadow work. I am a shadow work girly, and it's just I think there's something so beautiful and, like, we're literally just talking, if someone gives you the, like, "But I'm a good guy." No. But if you're
You
like, "These are all my
embrace,
problems."
yeah, embrace it because nobody's if you try to
Yeah.
sell to me that you're a perfect person,
No.
no.
And that's how I knew I wasn't normal because I am more likely to just give you a list of like, these are all the things that I noticed that make me great about myself. Do you want to stay?
Here's everything wrong with me.
Here's the
Do
buffet.
you wanna love me still?
I'm aware of it. I'm
I'm
aware of
owning
it.
up to
I'm
it.
aware of it. No, that was literally one of my points is so Hook decides to go with Wendy to drop John off at the boarding school.
I was like, I
The
love that
the
part.
way he has a word with the head guy
Even
there,
though he's on a crunch for time,
I was clap
and we later find out that that was, like, bad things happened because he was late,
yeah,
but that moment, I was like, "He's supporting her. She
that's
needs that."
that's when I felt
I love that.
that's yeah,
It was
I
great.
liked that. That was very sweet.
I also have a part highlighted here where he says, "I don't beg, ever." And I made a note and I said, "He's gonna beg, I can feel it."
I will say after she pleasures him, after she learns how to pleasure him, I guess he said something around the like, "You shouldn't trust me," which, like, red flag. If you tell me that, I'm gonna believe that because 'cause we're adults here, and, like, yeah,
And
I
also, like, who says that?
so cliche.
It's you shouldn't trust me, okay? I don't.
Okay.
We
So
don't
we just started meeting and like you're really good in bed and all, but like I don't really know you.
I wouldn't give you my life,
Yeah.
like,
Ugh.
but I do love this part at the end of that chapter when she's, like, basking in, like, "Okay, oh my god, we just did this on his yacht, wow." She says, "James took that fragile girl and threw her somewhere I can't find, and at least for now, I'm basking in her absence." And I was
Oh,
like, "Get it, Wendy!" Yeah.
yes.
Yes, I love that
And
part.
that's where we start to see Wendy's character development arc is
Her
like she's starting to become like she was this walked over, quiet, unseen, like she was just there and she's starting
behind the
this journey of
scenes, in the
like,
background, like, just refused to, like didn't wanna stir up the pot and, like, wanted to be, like, daddy's
yes,
little good girl and, like,
right.
make everyone happy. Her
Yeah,
needs weren't important, like
yeah.
but then when, like, this one guy, one night, it's
Mhm,
magically a miracle how this happened, like, out of nowhere, he's like, "You deserve love and,
mhm,
like, to be treated like a human being," and she's like, "Oh my god, you're right, I do."
mhm.
And then all of a sudden, she, like, starts clicking in, and she's like, "Hold up, I'm not gonna put up with my dad being an absolute ass, like, I'm not gonna put up with this at
Right.
all," and then she starts, like, fighting back, and then she becomes, like, a
She really
badass.
does. She
I
really
love
does.
Wendy.
Yeah.
That's one thing I always am, like, eerie about because in some dark romances, I'm like, I have a hard time, like, clicking with the female main character because sometimes they come off kinda wimpy, and
Mm.
I'm like, but she wasn't at all, like,
Mhm,
she was very, like, strong but silent,
mhm.
but then when she, like, flipped the switch, it was like, "No, I am, like, I'm here, listen
Yeah,
to me."
yeah. No, absolutely.
I liked her.
So I know we've like been mostly focusing on the relationship that's building between Wendy and Hook as they're spending more and more time together. There is a subplot where it's more of is it Rue with
Yeah,
Hook and like the
Rue and
whole
Hook.
the
Pixie
pixie
dust.
dust drug
Faith, trust, and pixie
situation
dust.
and they're
And then
having
her dad.
is in the game, so, like, they all have to navigate that, which, like, okay, it does come into play, but, like, that's happening behind the
So it's
scenes.
basically like Mob Wives meets Peter Pan
Mhm.
meets, like, The Godfather. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that so,
Okay.
like, it's like Wendy and Hook are, like, the primary, like, him using her is, like, the initial, like, bait into it, and then it evolves into them being like, "Oh, wait, I actually love her."
Mhm.
And then, like, they're spending time together and bonding, and then there's, like you kinda know that her dad's involved, but you don't know how, because, like, obviously Hook has it in his head that Peter killed Hook's parents, so he's, like, getting out for revenge, and he's, like,
Mhm.
ready to, like, use everything he can to get back at him, and then there's also, like, Rue and then, like, the
Mhm.
mob,
Yeah, yeah,
pixie dust stuff going on too,
yeah.
so, like, there it's all just, like, dirty drug
Mhm.
work,
Yeah. So
basically.
and that's basically the catalyst of what sets off the action, and that's where I really got hooked on the book
Hey.
was Hook goes with Wendy to drop John off at the boarding school, and
Mhm.
Rue goes to a meeting or whatever. And when Hook comes back, he finds out that Rue decided to go alone, and that's where he shows up. He finds out Rue's dead. Rue's been this like parental figure, kind of like
Took him in when his
role
uncle wasn't
model.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly, kinda, like, helped save him and get him to where he is today. So that's where his brain shuts off like any man, and,
I'm on the
um,
page. Because right in
Hooked.
front of me is Rue, bound to a tree, nails protruding from his hands and feet, his middle split open from the inside out.
This part hurt me because Hook was like, "Man, Wendy was in on it, and she took me away from
Okay,
this."
okay, this whole thing, this is where I go downhill. I
I
was like,
was about to say
I
this is where it spiraled. I was like,
I was like, I'm in. I love them. I'm like, God, they're so cute. I love them. I was
and
like
then he's
in it.
like
The second he goes, Wendy, that fucking bitch did it. I was like, you idiot. You're so stupid. Why would you think that she did this to your she didn't even know the dude.
Right.
Okay, I get so angry because I'm like, you're such an intelligent man. How are you so stupid at the same time? So he literally goes on this tailspin. He's like, Wendy did this. She was in on it. She used me. She killed me, or she killed him, and all this blah blah blah. And so he thinks that like Wendy did that, but it was. Can I say?
No, we're gonna get there.
Okay.
Not quite yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he's like and then like he ruins everything, self-sabotages.
Yeah.
And I'm
He
so
kidnaps her, and,
he
like, takes her
kidnaps
and when she's
her.
literally just like, "What's going on
And
here?"
she's literally like, "What did I do?
Um,
Like we were fine. I don't get it."
yeah.
He locks her up in the basement and he like just I'm like, "Dude, you're an idiot."
And
I
what does Wendy start doing? I couldn't not talk about this. Homegirl starts meditating. I love this.
that was actually so much. She was like, "Well, there's nothing else to do. I might as well sit
I
here in silence."
Yeah. No, I feel like that's, like, common as you get they're gonna fight back, and then they're gonna realize they can't escape, and then they kinda just, like,
I think
disassociate.
this is the part where I was like, "I can't relate, Wendy. I can't relate," because I like,
No.
as much as I disassociate in, like, normal life,
Yeah.
in that moment, if I was kidnapped, I would be like, "I will
No.
die before I sit here in silence."
I loved it because she accepted what was happening, and she was like, "How do I move forward from this?" Like, it was such a
What a growth
it
moment
was
for
such
Wendy.
a logical response to a crazy situation where you get kidnapped by someone you're sleeping with.
"This sucks. How can I fix this?
And
How
she's
can I
like,
move
in
on?"
retrospect, like,
I think we
"Oh,
saw this coming. In hindsight,
yeah,
probably should have,
yeah."
been a little more alert. Yeah.
No, no, exactly. So, like, things are going kinda bonkers, and then the perfect opportunity shows up. Are you good to move on to the charity event situation? I loved this. This is my favorite.
I kind of hoped it was going to be more dramatic.
Yeah.
It was already pretty dramatic, but I wanted like a scene.
Mhm.
Like I wanted her to have it out with her dad in the middle of the event, not like behind closed doors.
Yeah.
Because I feel like having it behind closed doors was very like um what's the like oh my god, like a metaphor,
Mhm.
for, like, their relationship because he's always kept her in the dark, kept her in the shadow, like, kept her
Mhm.
behind closed doors, like, made her be very, like, quiet, submissive,
Yeah.
and so, like, having that confrontation behind closed doors, I was like, "No, Wendy, you're above this.
Yeah.
Have it out in public, let everyone see how fucked up he is,"
Yeah.
and she didn't do that,
Yeah.
and I was like, "Meh."
So to back up, Hook is like, "We're going to this charity
Oh, yeah.
event." I loved your
Context.
enthusiasm, though. They're gonna go to this, like, charity event, and obviously Hook knows that her dad is going to be there. He brings Tina Bell as his plus one.
Tina Bell sounds like a dog.
I hate
It
it.
sounds like a
I hate it.
white little, like, Pomeranian
Yeah.
dog.
Yeah, no, not a fan. Hated her the whole time. But my soul was crushed. I knew, and this is where can relate. It's your parent. You think the best of them, right? You would think something would happen.
Mm,
Her dad shows up and doesn't even know that she's been kidnapped and held against her will. He's like, "You're just trying to rebel."
you're acting out, you're being dramatic,
Oh,
you're throwing a temper tantrum.
I felt that soul crushing moment of like thinking you hoped more for your parent and they
Let you down.
missed the mark and you're like, "Ooh, ouch." Yeah,
That's what I get for
that one
trying to be the bigger
that one hurts.
person.
I love how she ends up comforting Hook though when she knows that like things are starting to get tough for him. He's
Yeah.
getting triggered. Like I think that's something really beautiful is having a presence that can calm someone and being that tuned into someone where you can know
Mhm.
like they're
Their
not feeling
triggers and
well.
their
How can I
tells.
help them? Like I think I love that stuff.
I know, it was like even though they were fighting and even though she was, like, under duress and, like, held against her will, she was like no,
Yeah.
she's struggling here. Let
Yeah.
me like some part of her still did care for him, which I think in all of us in that moment, like Stockholm syndrome, like
Yeah.
like yeah, like clearly he's not a great dude and you see that now, but also like some part of you still cares for what
Mhm.
he was to you,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
how he like who he was when you like when he was with you before all of that.
Yeah,
So
yeah. No, I loved the, table tennis that was happening when they were just flinging stuff
mm,
back at each other. That was
yeah.
that was a great scene. And then as Kayla mentioned, they go out in the hallway and they're, going at it.
Spoiler,
Yeah.
they have a fight.
So it gets worse, right?
Okay, so I also yeah, so when all of this is happening, I have a note. This is when she's like, oh, sorry, this is actually backtracking because this is when she first wakes up from being kidnapped.
Mhm.
I said, okay, so this is halfway through the book. Please tell me she goes on a revenge spree with James and kills her dad.
Ding, ding, ding,
I
ding.
I was like, I hope, because I'm like halfway through. I'm like, all right, she just got
Yeah.
kidnapped. Like we were not quite at
Mhm.
the point of like duress yet.
Mhm.
Like what's about to happen, and then
Yeah.
yeah, so they go through. They have their like falling out behind the doors, and then
No,
and
my
then
soul
her
was crushed that her dad would not.
no, like her dad straight up was like, "Ah, you can take the fall for this one, kid. Thanks." And
Yeah.
he like James threatened Wendy's life, thinking that maybe her dad would be like, "No, no, no, take me instead. Like that's my daughter." Like a
Yeah.
normal parent would.
Yeah.
And so then James like had a gun or his knife or whatever at Wendy, and then Wendy was like, "Don't do it.
Mhm.
I'm gonna save you, Dad." And then her dad was like, "You got it. See you later." And he like dipped out. I'm like, "What the dude?
Mhm.
That's your kid. Like, come on."
Mhm.
Like, if you ever needed a moment to be like, "Ah, I don't like that guy." Like that was the moment where I was like,
Mhm. Mhm.
he's
Yeah,
not
yeah,
he's
yeah,
an awful dude.
yeah. But they don't quite duke it out right there. It's not the final
Yeah.
battle, not yet. No, instead they have some business to attend to
There's
in the bedroom. I don't remember exactly what happens, but my notes just verbatim. I didn't give myself any context. I said, "You're fucking insane. Love it. The possessiveness, period. Good girl, period. Rule setting, period." I don't even remember the scene, but I'm sure it was
I
great.
think there were, like her dress was in shreds, I don't
Oh,
know,
yeah,
like,
anything typical. I do love that he finishes on her face, and she's like, "So I think I love you."
I think I might be in love with
I
you.
like maybe
Um,
that was not
can I have your children?
it's not the timing I would have personally chosen, but I think it's beautiful.
I will there's another part of that too,
Yeah.
with the like, in that segue of, like, them having their little, like, "Okay, we're in love again, da, da,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
fine." He puts a necklace on her, that has a GPS tracking device in it, and at first I was like, "Ugh, ick." But then I was like, "Oh, smart," because it came in handy
It did come in
a
handy.
couple times.
It did come in handy.
So,
And then he came
and then he came on her face.
on her face. Just so we're all clear what happened in the book.
On his yacht again.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
because she didn't go back. She didn't go back to the Jolly Roger
Mhm.
because it was burnt to a crisp.
Yeah, bad times, bad times. That
Yeah.
sucks.
This is quick backtrack. They're at the charity event,
Uh-huh.
and that is when James is like, "Oh, she doesn't know her dad is an asshole? That's interesting. Maybe I was wrong." And I'm like, "You idiot." Anyways, okay. So, after they do the dirty on his yacht, there's semen everywhere. There's dresses. She still has the choker necklace on. Key part
He
there.
has to attend to and okay, go ahead. Yep.
Yeah, yeah. So she's like, okay, I'm gonna get a shower. I'm gonna get all like clean and stuff because I'm gross. And then he's like, don't leave my boat. And and he locks her in the room. But then she like goes out of the room because it's unlocked.
Mhm.
Shocker. And then she goes into the kitchen and Smee is there drinking his cute little cup of tea. And he's like,
Mhm.
"Hey there, Wendy. How was your sex? Was it great?" And she was like, "Oh my God, it was fantastic." They didn't actually say that. But Smee is like this like dopey guy the entire time. You're like, "Oh my
Yeah,
God,
he's just so sweet.
he's just
He
so
was, like,
sweet."
slightly concerned for her when she was being semi-kidnapped by
He was like, "Do you want
do
this?
you are you
Are you okay with this? Should I call the cops? Are
Yeah,
you good?" He was like a nice little dude, right? And then
wrong.
he wasn't. So she's like napping on the yacht. She's like she goes for like a little swim or whatever, and then she gets drugged and kidnapped.
Mhm.
And then oh yeah, yeah, okay. So she gets drugged and kidnapped, and then James comes back to his boat and he's like, "She's gone. Where the hell is she? Oh my God, she ran away. She
The
left me."
thing.
The choker necklace. He's like, "Oh my God, she's at our meeting place. What the hell? How did she get there?"
Mhm.
So he like at this point knows like she's not involved, but she's like been kidnapped by someone else. So he's like, "Gotta get her back." So he calls his gang, he calls his buddies, he's like, "Let's go fucking get her." So
Mhm.
they drive in a gang, they drive towards their meeting spot, they show up, they get ambushed by none other than Smee. What the
I
fuck?
was I was I was taken aback by this. I
Okay,
did not see it coming.
I have thoughts about this. Hated that because I don't feel like
He
it
seems so
played
sweet.
any like it didn't help or do anything to the plot. Made it more confusing.
I would argue
Okay.
the only thing I did like about that is when Smee was explaining what had happened. How are they related
They're
again?
cousins,
They're cousins,
which
whatever.
is
But
weird.
then Hook killed was it his dad?
His dad.
Yeah, okay, so Hook killed his Smee's dad. So I did like the whole point going back to the dedication is you're always gonna be the villain in somebody else's story. So Hook was Smee's Peter. He understood that. Like, that's how I think it, like, brought it full circle.
Mm.
You don't have to be happy about that, but I was like,
I
"Okay, I
guess.
get it,
I
I get
get
it."
it. I mean, it was fine. It was just like in all like when the rest of it played out,
Yeah,
I was left with this like, why was
yeah.
that needed?
Uh,
It didn't feel
John
necessary.
being James's half brother, Hook's half brother, I was
Also, okay, the whole ending to this
it did get a
thing,
little messy.
I was like, so Jerry Springer, because the
Mhm.
entire ending of this book is like, oh, you've got a brother, you've got a cousin, you've got a brother. I'm like, what the hell? So
Yeah,
like they're all related. Essentially,
it was
Wendy
weird,
is
but
like half brother sister with Hook
yeah.
or
No.
something. I don't know. I was
Relate.
confused. They're not related?
Just John. John is Wendy's half brother, or maybe not brother at all. I don't know. They're what Hook and Wendy aren't related, but
I
John ended up half related to
okay.
it
The
was it
jury's still out on whether or not they're related.
not related, they're pretty
We don't I don't know. It
yeah.
was very unclear to me. So I was like, okay, if Wendy and John are brother and sister, but
They're
John
not.
but they're not.
No, no, no. That's what I think that's what they realized is that, uh,
They're
Peter
not
just
actually
ended up
related.
taking John under and that's why he was so, like that's why he was such an asshole to him is because he's
Because
like,
they
"You're not my
that's
child.
not
You're
his
the reason everything has gone wrong."
got it. That makes more sense. Okay,
Yeah,
because the rest of the book I was like, "Oh,
yeah,
that's weird."
yeah.
Um,
How was my brother actually your brother?
I don't know how
That's
this
too
works.
close, that's too close.
I mean, it is
Yeah,
dark romance. So, but yeah, like the whole ending was just like
yeah.
tailspin weird because it was like, okay, Smee, and then James is like, okay, kill you, Smee. He kills Smee.
Mhm.
Then we're like, oh, okay, like I guess that's it, right?
Yeah.
Well,
Wrong.
no, wrong, because then out of the shadows comes Peter, and he's like, ah, got him. It was me all the time. And him and Tina come out, Tina Terry, whatever her name is, and she like unties Wendy, like they're gonna let her go. And I was like, oh, okay, like maybe maybe he wasn't the bad guy. I don't know.
Wrong.
Again, wrong, because he like goes after James and he's like, Wendy, say goodbye to your lover.
Yeah.
And then sorry, I get really excited, so you can stop me at any
You're
point.
good.
But
You're
like,
good. You're going.
and then Tina was like, finally I get to kill you because I absolutely hated you, blah blah blah. And then yeah, then Wendy kills
Mhm,
Tina,
mhm,
and then Wendy kills her dad,
mhm,
and then she saves James. And I
mhm,
was like, Wendy, you did it, girl. You fucking did it. I am so proud of you.
mhm,
You killed your father. Now you get to live in peace.
mhm. Yeah,
Great job.
yeah.
And then yeah, then they go off on their boat in the sunset. Then they have babies.
I know. You do get like
I
a
loved
prologue. You get that
I
little
love
bow on
that.
it.
I always love like I think all books need to do that
Yeah.
because I like if I get really attached to characters, I don't want a full-on sequel because I'm too impatient for
But it's
that.
nice to just know that they're like
Yeah.
they're good.
I
They had
just
a
want like a
child.
little like
That child's gonna be
chapter.
so loved.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
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 Oh my god, yeah.
Yeah.
So it was
Crazy
good.
ending. It really picked up, and like I said, it did kind of go all over.
Yeah.
When I was when you're reading it, obviously the subplot gets things into motion and it makes more sense. I would say once you distance yourself from it, I don't remember much of that. It was mostly about Hook and then mostly Wendy's development. That was the
Yeah.
biggest
That was
piece for
huge.
me. The last quote
Yeah.
that I grabbed was from when she was meditating. No, when she was held captive, and I thought it was interesting. She goes, "I can't change the fact that when I'm with him, when I'm truly with him," she means James, not Hook, the like character that he plays,
Like the persona that he has.
"I
Yeah.
discover more of who I am, who I can be." So I think that's a case of like him being himself empowered her to be herself, which I think like that
Mhm.
rings true for like friendships and stuff like that. A lot of times it's like one
Yeah.
person, it takes one person to be like, so actually this is how I feel about this. And you're like, oh my God, me too, actually. Hang on.
Yeah.
Um, Ironic how losing my free will helped me find my voice. And maybe that makes me more like my father than I'd care to admit. But we're all a little twisted, and there's no such thing as good and evil. There are only perspectives, and perceptions change depending on the angle. Great point. It's all about
Right.
perspective.
But like in the beginning, you're always going to be the villain of someone else's story.
Yeah. People aren't static. Our morals aren't constant. They do change, shockingly. There's variables ever changing and molding into different versions of themselves, energy that can be shifted and realigned. So I just really liked that because again, part of like why I do this podcast and why I love talking about romantasy, even dark romance in general, is like um I like hearing the villain's story because when you break it down,
They're not really the bad guy.
no, no,
Like in so many cases and so many
yeah,
like so many stories, it's like they're a victim of a
yeah,
system or circumstance
right.
or someone else's doings or consequences, and
Mhm,
it's how they decide to act on it, and like either it's retribution or it's justice or whatever, but like and then like
mhm,
that like hunt for justice, if it is that,
yeah, yeah,
becomes this like, oh, they're on a killing spree. Well, because I mean, like, look at Hook's background. Like, it's
yeah,
messed up. Like, he was abused. It was awful. Um, but he was like, I'm gonna
yeah,
get,
yeah.
like, I'm
Well, it's
not gonna.
like if you're gonna see me this way, if you're gonna label me this way, like I'm gonna use that to my
Yeah,
advantage. I'm not gonna try to like prove you wrong in a sense. It's
right.
like
Like, it's not worth the effort, or
no,
like, I'm not gonna
yeah,
waste my
yeah,
breath to try and make you see a different side of me because that's
yeah.
not worth
So
it.
like I said, it boils down to I think it's like honorable. Like there's something to be said about just embracing the darker side of you, the not so great qualities. I'm not saying that's any excuse to go be like
A
an
murderer.
asshole, but you can still be yourself. Like I don't
Yeah.
know. It's one of those like hmm. I think sometimes I try to get careful with my wording when it comes to enjoying fiction and like bringing concepts into real life. You do have to be careful
Yeah.
about that. Don't go killing people, please. But
This is not an ad for
my
burger.
point is no, starting the book, I thought it was a bit silly to get into just because you are noticing all the, like, overlap and some of it came off a little cheesy. By the end of it, I
Mhm.
absolutely love the book. I love what
Yeah, it was
Hook
great.
did for her, and like I said, um, I think a lot of people who are maybe feeling, um, unworthy, like, if when they just feel like they're not good enough, having someone just see you for you and, like, learning how to speak up for yourself, I think those are all, like, really relatable journeys, just in a maybe somewhat more unrelatable format.
If you had to give it, like, a star rating, what
Mhm.
would you give it?
Thank you for asking. I actually have a Goodreads where anyone can check out. I gave this one a 4. So
Really?
I was yeah, I think I give most books a 4.
Oh, I'm so generous with my rating.
Oh, okay.
I'm like 10,
So
9, 8.
oh, oh, out of 5. That's how you rate it on
Oh.
Goodreads.
I thought it was out of 10.
Oh.
I was like, damn,
Okay.
that's
I
critical.
think I would stick with the equivalent, which would be like an 8 out of 10, 4 out
Okay.
of 5. I think the only reason it is missing that that little extra bit is just and I mean everything is subjective, it's personal
Hmm.
preference.
Yeah.
I always like I'm greedy and I'm like I just want a little bit more. Give me more. I like
Like
to
more smut or
um I'm never going to say no to that. More in the sense of I like to really, really connect with characters. I like kind of seemingly useless scenes where they, you start to learn their like little ticks and stuff like that. Like it gives
mm,
them so much more life. So like, longer Sarah J. Maas books, those things are like 400 or 500 pages. This,
that's
you know.
so funny. I think that's a really good like comparison of our personalities
Okay.
because I'm the opposite.
Oh, you're
I
like, I don't need the fluff.
I want no fluff.
Okay, fair.
I want to the point. I want to know who's fucking who, and I want
And
to
I
know,
want it
and I
now.
want it now.
Okay.
And then I want the big fight scene, and then I want to be done.
Okay. So how did this rate for you then?
For me, I would give it like, I'd give it out of 5 or 10.
Okay.
Out of 5 or 10.
Yeah, yeah. 5 out of 5, 10 out of 10.
Yeah. So I
A 5
don't know what
or a
I
10.
don't know what the rating system is
No, you're fine.
anymore. So I would give it like a 5 or a 10, whatever rating you want to use.
Yeah.
Because I was like, there was enough like background for me to really get a grasp on like how like for the character development to really like click for me.
Mhm.
Like it wasn't too much, it wasn't too little,
Mhm.
and then it was like, okay, great, we're in it, they're getting to know each other, and then boom, there's a big falling out.
Wham
So like,
bam.
wham bam, thank you, ma'am. Like I'm like a no frills person, so
Fair. Fair.
I liked it. I think it was really, and it was just cheesy enough to be like, ah, this is funny, and like kind of take the edge off like the serious like undertones of some of the like themes,
Yeah.
but not enough to be like, I can't read this. This is awful. So
Fair. Fair.
I liked it.
No. Definitely appropriate. So the next one is Scarred. It's giving Lion King. I don't know.
Okay, okay. Were you like, if you had to pick an animated character from like Disney, your
Disney.
childhood, like
Yeah.
who's hot?
Who's hot? So see, I don't think my type was really portrayed in um
Okay. So Kofu, not a question? All right, cool. I'll just go fuck myself then. That's fine.
I no
I'll just go read Scarred by
accurate,
myself.
accurate.
More books in the series. I
Yeah,
would read them.
cool.
I think I like
Let's
Emily's tone. Her like writing style is very
yeah,
easy and cool to follow. It's not cringy, but I like it.
cool. Awesome, awesome. So we will continue through the series. How was your first podcasting experience?
Hated it, every minute of it, actually. And I don't ever want to do this again.
So you want to keep reading them, but you don't.
I'll read them and give you my thoughts. If you can keep me off camera, I'll just
She was so excited. She was like, "Oh, I've never
I
done
was
a stalking."
I was excited when I was like, "Yeah, this sounds fun," but then, like, in practice, it's nerve-wracking.
I think you'll realize it's really not that bad.
You do it for a living.
Kinda.
So, you have, like, more experience.
Yeah, you just do it. And then you're like,
You just do it.
oh yeah, there's been times where I've like looked back at what I filmed and I'm like,
Oh.
oh, that's what I look
Hated that.
like.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it was fun. Thank you for having me on your podcast.
Thanks for
I will
having
I will
me.
get over my fear and I
Yeah.
will do it again
Okay,
for you
perfect.
because of our
We
friendship.
have 5 more books to talk about.
All right, maybe by the sixth one, I'll be normal.
Not gonna happen. Again, I have no outro prepped. Thanks for
But at
watching.
that,
If you've made it this far, thank you for sticking through this. I have no
sorry.
uh and yeah, I have a link tree. I post this to Spotify, YouTube are the main ones. I post a lot to Instagram and TikTok. They get different content sometimes, so follow both. Follow both. You never know what you're gonna get.
You never,
Um,
life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get.
True. Yes, absolutely. But I like to have fun there. I do. I've been filming a lot of reels lately, so that has been a blast. But yeah, let me know. As always, I want to make this like a conversation, not just me talking to a camera. So what were your thoughts of the story? Did you like it? Was it not for you? Why? And what should we be looking forward to as far as like the next few books in the series?
And on a scale of 1 to 10, how badly did you hate Peter Pan?
Yes. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh
Let's
yeah.
riot.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, if you have a terrible parent, we feel ya. With that, we'll see you next time.
Wait, why do we do that on the same?
Because we're just the same.
We're the same. I love that.